It's my journey, it's your journey. You need my help and I need yours. 'Cause we are...
Hello, family. Welcome to Journeys of Faith Super Saints podcast. Brother Joseph Fry Aldenhoven here at your service. Be sure to look at the description for special information of interest to you. Saint Agatha and the Mount Etna eruption. Miraculous protection of Catania. Along the ancient cobblestone streets of Catania, Sicily, devotion breathes in every heartbeat, echoing through generations. Here, faith and history entwine, telling a story that has become the cornerstone of local identity, a narrative shaped by the miraculous intercession of Saint Agatha, the city's beloved patroness. For centuries, the Catholic faithful have turned to her with unwavering trust, especially in the face of nature's most formidable force, Mount Etna, Europe's most active volcano. Journeys of Faith invites you on a pilgrimage not just across oceans, but across time itself. We delve into the powerful connection between a community, their beloved saint, and the awe-inspiring events that forge a spiritual legacy, a legacy etched forever in the heart of Sicilian Catholicism. As we recount the miraculous protection attributed to Saint Agatha during Mount Etna's terrifying eruptions, you'll encounter how faith can shape the destiny of a people, unite a city, and strengthen the universal church's resolve in the face of adversity. Join us as we discover how this story of miraculous intervention resonates today with seekers, pilgrims, and all who yearn for hope amid life's trials. In honor of Saint Agatha, her courage, her sacrificial love, and her heavenly protection, we walk in the footsteps of those who believed and witnessed the hand of God moving mightily in their midst. Origins of Saint Agatha's martyrdom. In the heart of 3rd century Sicily, a young woman named Agatha emerged as a beacon of Christian courage and fidelity. Born into a noble family in Catania, Agatha was renowned for both her beauty and her profound faith in Christ. Even as persecutions against Christians intensified under the Roman Emperor Decius, Agatha's resolve never faltered. According to early Christian accounts, she consecrated her virginity to God, dedicating her life to prayer and works of charity among the poor, an act of devotion that made her a target. The governor of Sicily, Quintianus, driven by both political ambition and personal desire, sought to force Agatha to renounce her faith and submit to his advances. When she steadfastly resisted, Quintianus unleashed a campaign of intimidation and torture that tested the limits of human endurance. Historical tradition tells of Agatha's cruel imprisonment, during which she was subjected to beatings and the horrific mutilation of her body, her unwavering faith shining through even as she endured unspeakable pain. Throughout her ordeal, Agatha is said to have called upon Christ and the Blessed Virgin for strength. Miraculously, her courage only seemed to deepen, inspiring her fellow Christians to stand firm in their beliefs. Even as her persecutors grew frustrated, Agatha shared words of forgiveness and prayer, offering her sufferings for the salvation of her persecutors. Her martyrdom, ultimately leading to her death on February 5th, made her not just a patroness of Catania, but a radiant symbol of hope and resilience for Christians across the centuries. Deepen your faith journey with Journeys of Faith. As we reflect on the awe-inspiring protection St. Agatha offered Catania in the face of Mount Etna's fury, let her courageous witness illuminate your own path of faith. At Journeys of Faith, we invite you to take the next step personally, spiritually, and communally. Join our vibrant Catholic community and experience virtual pilgrimages, walk in the footsteps of saints like St. Agatha, with our 30-minute video journeys perfect for parishes, schools, or personal devotion. Explore our saints' resources, discover engaging multimedia and in-depth biographies on Eucharistic miracles, Marian apparitions, and the lives of holy men and women who shaped our church. Shop with meaning. Find inspiring gifts and sacramentals at the region's largest Catholic gift shop, supporting both your spiritual growth and our evangelization mission. Support our ministry. Your prayers and donations allow Journeys of Faith to continue spreading the power of Catholic stories worldwide in partnership with the cloistered Augustinian nuns of Montefalco. Be a witness to God's enduring miracles, just as Saint Agatha was. Let's build one heart, one mind, one spirit with one vision together. Discover more at Journeys of Faith, early Christian Catania, and the threat of persecution. In the early centuries of Christianity, Catania was not just a thriving port city perched on the edge of the Mediterranean. It was a crucible where faith was repeatedly tested by the fires of persecution. Under Roman rule, Christians throughout Sicily lived in constant danger. The city's devotion to the gospel often clashed with the pagan tradition sanctioned by the empire, giving rise to suspicion, hostility, and inescapable trials for the fledgling Christian community. For the faithful of Catania, the threat was not merely abstract. Imperial edicts criminalized Christianity, pushing believers into the shadows. They gathered quietly in homes or catacombs, praying and supporting one another, their courage forming the roots of a faith set to move mountains. Stories of martyrdom echoed throughout the city, none more potent than that of Saint Agatha herself, a woman of noble birth, resolved to remain steadfast in her devotion to Christ. As persecution intensified under rulers like Decius and Valerian, the atmosphere in Catania turned tense. Roman officials scoured the city for those who refused to honor the gods of the state. Many Christians faced brutal choices, recant their faith, or suffer dire public consequences. Yet, amidst this climate of fear and oppression, Catania's Christian community grew stronger, bonded by a faith that not even chains or flames could destroy. It was in this atmosphere of constant threat that the example of Saint Agatha became a beacon of resolve, a symbol of defiant faith, compassion, and miraculous intervention. The soil of Catania was being watered by the blood of the martyrs, laying fertile ground for stories of hope and protection that would inspire generations to come. The legend of the veil, a sacred relic against fire and lava. Amidst the turmoil and terror of Mount Etna's eruptions, the people of Catania turned their hearts heavenward, invoking the intercession of Saint Agatha. At the center of their hope was the miraculous veil of Saint Agatha, a sheer crimson relic believed to carry a powerful divine safeguard. As early as the 3rd century, stories spread throughout Sicily of how St. Agatha's faith and purity had survived even torture and persecution. But it was in the centuries after her martyrdom that the legend took root. Tradition holds that shortly after her death, Catania was threatened by a roaring eruption of Mount Etna, its lava flows barreling toward the city's ancient walls. The faithful gathered, trembling, carrying the veil, a simple piece of cloth believed to have covered Agatha during her ordeal, and processed to the edge of the advancing fire. Eyewitnesses spoke in awed whispers of what followed. As the veil was lifted between the city and the molten river, the lava stopped in its tracks, the relentless fire arrested by invisible hands. Over generations, the veil was revered not just as a relic, but as a living testament to St. Agatha's intercession and God's mercy. Processions continued through the ages. Each time Catania faced the wrath of Etna, priests and lay people would move in faith, bearing the relic, singing hymns, and laying their trust in the saint whose very life was forged in the flames of suffering. The veil became a symbol, a sacred shield uniting an entire community. For believers, it was more than fabric. It was a visible sign that holiness resists even the wildest forces of nature, and that faith, persistent and bold, can call down miracles amidst disaster. Each retelling of the legend deepened a shared identity. To be from Catania was to be a witness to Saint Agatha's miraculous protection, to see her veil as both a heritage and a hope, woven through centuries of prayer and peril. Historical eruptions of Mount Etna in Saint Agatha's time. During the 3rd century, the region of Catania lay in the shadow of one of Europe's most formidable natural forces, Mount Etna. Known for its breathtaking vistas and fertile soils, the mountain could also unleash catastrophic eruptions, threatening entire towns with rivers of lava and choking ash. The local population lived with a deep awareness of Etna's power, close enough to witness her fury, but powerless to contain it. It was during this period, tradition holds, that an eruption began to imperil the city of Catania. Columns of fire shot skyward, and molten rock descended relentlessly toward populated areas. Oral accounts and hagiographies from the early Christian community connect these catastrophic outbursts with the veneration of Saint Agatha, a beloved martyr whose faith and courage inspired generations. Local Christians facing imminent disaster process through the streets with the saint's veil, a precious relic, trusting in her intercession. According to these accounts, the advancing lava inexplicably halted at the city's edge, sparing Catania from destruction. While modern science gives us rich insight into volcanic phenomena, the people of Agatha's day experienced these eruptions not merely as natural disasters, but as moments of spiritual trial and divine encounter. The enduring memory of these miraculous events continues to shape the Catholic imagination of Catania, reminding the faithful of the protective mantle of saints in the face of the world's fiercest forces. Saint Agatha, 252 AD, the miracle that saved Catania. In the year 252 AD, Catania faced a cataclysmic threat. Mount Etna, the ancient and unpredictable volcano that looms over Sicily, rumbled to life with furious force. Rivers of molten lava began their relentless descent toward the city, promising destruction and despair. The people of Catania, powerless before nature's wrath, turned not to armies or fortifications, but to their beloved patroness, Saint Agatha, the young virgin martyr revered for her unyielding faith. Legend recounts how the faithful of Catania, carrying the veil of Saint Agatha, a sacred relic stained with her sacrifice, marched in procession toward the fiery onslaught. As lava scorched the earth and threatened the city walls, the faithful held the veil aloft, trusting in the intercession of the holy martyr. What happened next resounded through the ages. The advancing lava stopped as if held back by an invisible barrier, and disaster was averted. This event, enshrined in the soul of Catania and in the tradition of the church, wasn't just a miraculous deliverance from destruction. It became a testament to the power of faith in St. Agatha's intercession, a living memory honored every year in grand processions and prayers. To the people of Catania and countless Catholics throughout history, this miracle stands as a luminous beacon of hope, illustrating how the saints continue to protect, console, and inspire the faithful in the face of life's fiercest trials. Testimonies of pilgrims who experience her protection. For centuries, pilgrims have flocked to Catania, hearts lifted by faith in St. Agatha's intercession, and many have left with stories woven into the city's enduring spirit. Their voices echo across generations, recounting moments when the lines between the miraculous and the everyday blurred. In the winter of 1992, a small prayer group from Palermo journeyed to Catania during the feast of St. Agatha as Mount Etna threatened eruption. We prayed by her relics, our voices drowned by fear and ash falling outside, remembers Luciana B., her palms pressed together. As the procession began, the lava flow changed course, sparing our village. We saw it as a sign she was listening. Another testimony comes from Antonio, whose family saw their home spared in the 2002 eruption. The villagers carried Agatha's veil to the edge of the encroaching lava, he recounts. That night, as we prayed, the flow halted just meters from the fields. We wept with relief and gratitude. And modern pilgrims often speak less of dramatic deliverances and more of quiet, persistent solace. Maria, who journeyed seeking peace during a family crisis, describes kneeling in the cathedral. A calm enveloped me, she says. I left knowing that, like Saint Agatha, I could bear life's crosses with faith. Their stories paint a mosaic of protection, not only from volcanic flames, but from the daily fires of fear and sorrow. Through all these accounts, pilgrims insist St. Agatha's shielding presence is as tangible now as ever, a testimony not just to historical miracle, but to living faith. Comparing eyewitness accounts across the centuries, volcanoes burn memories into the collective consciousness. When Mount Etna erupts, the people of Catania do not merely witness, they remember, record, and recount. Throughout history, the city's survival has often been credited to the intercession of Saint Agatha. But what do the first hand witnesses say? Piecing together accounts from different eras reveals not just consistency, but a testimony to faith and miracle. In the chronicles of the 252 AD eruption, the earliest records, etched into ancient texts and passed through generations, describe a terrified populace flooding the streets, clutching relics of the young martyr Agatha. Eyewitnesses report that as lava advanced toward the city gates, a group of faithful processed with the saint's veil, pressing it against the hot flow. Legend holds that the torrent of molten rock abruptly halted, an event recounted by both Roman officials and local Christians alike. Centuries later, in the 17th century, Justus Rubeus's diary entries offer sobering prose. The city thrummed with prayers, the faithful unmoved by the trembling earth, all placing trust in the protectress, he writes. His meticulous documentation describes the clarity of the danger, ash-blackened skies, frightened animals, trembling children, but overlays these details with the hope grown from tradition. As in previous centuries, once the relic of St. Agatha was brought forth, the eruption's fury softened, sparking another cycle of faith, celebration, and retelling. Modern accounts are less flowery but no less reverent. Civil defense logs from the 20th century record the patterns: panic amidst volcanic thunder, processional marches bearing St. Agatha's standard, volcanic fronts diverted. Interviews with residents in the 20th and 21st centuries reveal a seamless thread. Each generation, regardless of how scientific their worldview, recalls instances where the mountain's wrath seemed to falter when met with prayers to the city's beloved patroness. Eyewitness testimonies bridge divides of time and skepticism. What appears repeatedly is a city united in veneration, an enduring belief that with St. Agatha's help, no disaster, natural or otherwise, is insurmountable. The miracle is not only in the stone and fire, but in the resilient faith of a community that knows its history and refuses to let it die. Scientific reflections on lava flow diversions. Scientifically, the phenomenon of redirecting molten rivers of lava from a volcano's mouth has long fascinated geologists and volcanologists. Mount Etna, with its frequent eruptions over millennia, serves as a dynamic laboratory for such studies. Normally, lava flows follow the law of gravity, seeking the path of least resistance, mowing down everything in their path, homes, farms, and sometimes entire communities. But in Catania's history, something extraordinary stands apart. Centuries of local oral tradition and written chronicles alike recount moments when, against the odds, destructive torrents of lava veered away from the city after processions with the relics of Saint Agatha. Modern scientists approach these accounts with a mix of skepticism and wonder. They analyze the topography around Catania, rocky ridges, ancient lava beds, even subtle changes in soil density, all potential natural contributors to lava's unpredictable turns. Still, They note that in several eruptions, the timing and suddenness of the flow's redirection defied what geology alone could predict. Researchers can map past eruptions and build computer models detailing likely flow channels, but such models struggle to account for the documented shifts following prayers and processions. These unexplained exceptions, as one volcanologist termed them, fuel lively debate among experts, blending empirical inquiry with acknowledgement of Catania's enduring faith in Saint Agatha's miraculous protection. For the city's faithful, these scientific uncertainties only reinforce a profound and vibrant testimony. The events are not just natural mysteries, but moments where the tangible and the divine seem to intertwine. Artistic depictions of St. Agatha halting Etna's fury. Within the ancient walls of Catania's cathedrals and chapels, an evocative visual language speaks of St. Agatha's miraculous intervention. Artists across centuries, inspired by communal memory and deep faith, have captured the drama of Etna's volcanic outbursts halted by the young martyr's intercession. Frescoes and paintings, vibrant with Baroque passion, often place Agatha at the forefront, her gaze serene, a white veil raised like a shield against a roaring tide of fire. The veil, imbued with relic like reverence, is almost always present, sometimes billowing protectively over the city, other times pressed between Etna's burning rivers and the trembling townsfolk below. These artistic choices are not mere ornament, they testify to generations who entrusted their lives to the conviction that even before the blind forces of nature, faith could draw a line no flame may pass. Wooden statuary processions, still enacted each February, echo these same themes. Sculptors shape Agatha with outstretched hand and poised prayer, not as a distant martyr, but as a vigilant guardian poised on the city's ramparts. Votive offerings, milagros, and ancient silver ex votos, some blackened by smoke, others gleaming anew, surround these images, evidence of answered prayers and the city's ongoing devotion. These artistic renderings do more than immortalize a moment, they fuel a living tradition. Every brushstroke, chisel mark, and silver thread weaves faith and memory together, inviting all who see them to hope for miracles in their own hour of trial. Through art, the legend of Saint Agatha's defense against Mount Etna's fury remains ever present, both history and call to faith for Catania's faithful and pilgrims alike. Patronage of Saint Agatha over natural disasters. For centuries, the people of Catania have turned to Saint Agatha in times of crisis, especially when the awe inspiring Mount Etna would awaken with fire and smoke. Her story of courageous faith, remaining steadfast in Christ even amidst torture, is inseparable from the city's experience of facing the unpredictable power of nature. Almost every generation has retold the accounts of Etna's ash descending upon rooftops or rivers of molten lava, creeping perilously close to their homes, and how, in those dire moments, the faithful called upon St. Agatha's intercession. Historical chronicles describe how, during particularly violent eruptions, the people would process through the streets holding aloft the white veil of St. Agatha, a relic believed to have miraculous powers. According to the tradition, on several occasions, as townspeople approached the advancing lava with prayers in the sacred veil, the flow would miraculously halt, sparing Catania from devastation. These stories, passed down from parent to child, are not mere local legend, but testimony to the community's belief in God's providence manifested through the saints. St. Agatha's patronage extends beyond volcanoes. She is invoked for protection against earthquakes, fires, and other calamities, a role that reminds us how the saints stand beside believers in their hour of need. Every year, the city's grand February festival sees thousands unite in faith, processing in reverence and gratitude. It is more than a cultural celebration, it is an act of evangelization, a living testament to the power of prayer and the communion of saints, knitting the Catanese together in one heart, one mind, one spirit. Conclusion: the living legacy of St. Agatha's miraculous protection. The story of Saint Agatha's miraculous intervention during the eruption of Mount Etna stands as a powerful testament to the enduring faith of the Catholic community in Catania and well beyond. In moments of crisis, the faithful turn not only to their own strength, but seek the powerful intercession of those who have walked the holy path before them. St. Agatha's unyielding courage in the face of persecution and her heavenly protection of her people remind us that our spiritual family's prayers echo across centuries, shielding and inspiring the faithful. At Journeys of Faith, we encourage every believer to look to the saints, especially St. Agatha, as role models of devotion, courage, and trust in God. Her legacy is not simply a tale from the past, but a living beacon urging the church to remain united in one heart, one mind, one spirit, with one vision. May her example ignite in us a fervor for prayer, a readiness to serve our communities, and a renewed faith that, with the saints by our side, we are never alone in facing life's challenges. The miraculous protection of St. Agatha is not only Catania's inheritance, it is a gift to the whole church. Your family, there is more to this post, so please see the link in the description for the rest of the article. Be sure to click the link in the description for special news item, and since there is more to this article, finish reading and check out the special offer. Visit journeysoffaith.com website today.
It's your journey, but we won't make the trip